Okie dokie everyone, apologies for the super long hiatus. The latest video in the Total Hardware series will be coming soon, but it did run into a few more mechanical hiccups because apparently it wasn't already frustrating enough. I swear that video series is just legitimately cursed, like Sinch is off killing himself laughing somewhere. Anyways, speaking of Sinch, let's take another look at the Unification mod, which had an absolutely colossal update recently. If you missed my first look at it, it's linked down below if you're curious, but the TLDR, or I guess TLDW, is that I sincerely believe it to be the new gold standard of Dawn of War mods. It is completely without equal. So even before this update, this was already starting on a super high starting position. Have the changes made it even better? Well, we'll get into that in a moment, but spoiler alert, oh my god, yes. Let's start things off with the negatives though, because there's really only a couple of them. The first one I ran into though was frankly one of installation. Now, call me lazy, because I am, but I've gotten used to mods being able to simply update themselves when it's time to upgrade. And in fact, Ultimate Apocalypse is a brilliant example of this. In that case, you simply download the new one, and the installer will figure out what it needs to do in the background without you having to really get involved. But Unification in comparison was anything but smooth to install. I couldn't seem to get the installer to figure things out, I couldn't seem to find all the things I needed to delete in the background, and I couldn't seem to figure out what needed to be unpacked, what needed to be left alone, and eventually I ended up having to go with the nuclear option and completely delete my entire Dawn of War folder and do a completely fresh reinstall just to get the damn thing to work. While the first time I did Unification mod was also a bit of a frustrating install, this was like some next level stuff, and I actually debated giving up on the entire install rather than deleting everything and starting from scratch. Now, thank God I didn't, because man was the hassle worth it in the end, but if you're not familiar with like really in-depth installs, this is going to frustrate the crap out of you right from step one. Now, we'll take a look at one more detriment. However, I want to point out this one is not actually the modder's fault, nor will it be a permanent loss according to the other mod author. That said, the Stronghold submod no longer works with the newest version of Unification. Now this is super depressing to me because Strongholds is goddamn brilliant. In fact, it was actually one of my favorite aspects of the previous mod. It gives a ton of unique play types to all of the new races added in by Unification, but that said, there's actually a pretty fair trade-off for that now in the form of the campaign actually being usable. That's right, Unification now works with the campaign, and like on its own, that would be pretty cool, but holy crap does this go way beyond. In fact, this goes straight up beyond any mod I've ever seen. Sure, most of their new changes got added, such as, Necron Dynasties, the new Farseer, all the new units, and so on and so forth, but way more impressively in my eyes, the campaign is now utterly unlike anything you've ever played. The AI is whip smart. Like, I set it to easy thinking the AI would be dumb as a brick like vanilla, and I could spend a single battle, teching up to max while relaxing and getting some decent footage for the video. Instead, in the opening battle, the Necrons simply busted through my defenses like they were paper mache and proceeded to give my Eldar a bigger reaming than Slaanesh ever did. And then I thought, well heck, maybe the Necrons were just really good because they got so large of an update, so I tried a few different factions and realized, no, every single AI faction is now playing 4D chess. Like, they are amazing. Whoever did the AI work for this mod, pat yourself on the back, because this is probably the single most impressive AI work I have ever seen in Dawn of War, and I am counting vanilla in that mix. But here's me ranting and raving about that, and maybe frankly it doesn't sound fun to you. Maybe you're just learning Dawn of War, or maybe you just want to have a more relaxing campaign experience, maybe you just want to see a nice big old comp stomp. Whatever the reasons are though, fear not, you can tweak literally dozens of settings in a separate campaign tweaker that's also included with this update. Do you want to re-dumbify the AI? Neat, uncheck the new AI option. Don't like the new Necron Dynasties mechanic? Cool, take them back out. Want the Sisters to Battle to use the new special named Saint characters? Check those boxes. Want to tweak units to be stronger or weaker, or buildings to be stronger or weaker? Pick whatever you like. Want to add in the new mechanics like weather or the day and night cycle? Fill your boots. Want bigger battles, smaller battles, whatever you want to do, this is probably the most customizable experience I have ever seen. And I don't just mean among Dawn of War mods, or even amongst mods periods. Like, I don't think I've ever set up a campaign quite this precisely before. Now, some of these systems I mentioned might have confused you because a lot of them are also brand new for this update. So like the aforementioned weather system adds in, well, randomized weather conditions that affect certain units, which makes for a really unpredictable gameplay style, but one that also punishes overusing certain unit types. Snow, for example, will slow down infantry and reduce their melee damage, so if you've been leaning heavily onto assault terminators, you're about to be in for a really rude awakening. This day and night system, though, in comparison, gives a much more cyclical condition that you can somewhat plan around. So using those assault terminators and you want to ambush your opponent, just wait until it's nighttime when units have reduced sight lines and you can annihilate them before they even know what's happening. But wait, there's even more. So all these like really fun tweaks to skirmish or campaign modes, but maybe you saw the missing strongholds mod and you lament the lack of unique gameplay modes. Well, have no fear, friendo, because the previously experimental survival and last stand game modes are now full-fat game modes. As a side note, the mod authors still call the latter a work in progress, but it's like perfectly playable as is in my experience. Like, I had no issues with it. Both modes also have several variables that you can also tweak as well, just in case you didn't think you were getting your money's worth. And if somehow you still aren't satisfied with all of that, there's also 2 more game modes that are still in the experimental phase, those being Kill Team and Assault. Now, moving back to the races, I always personally considered the additional races to be the true reason to get Unification Mod, and there is now 17 additional races, which are included as part of the download, rather than you having to go through one by one and find them as separate downloads. Also, just like before, you can also try to merge other races in if you'd like, and they give pretty easy instructions for doing that. However, this time around, I found that the real meat and potatoes for the update is actually for the vanilla races. All the vanilla races got a Titan to begin with, which is a good step in the right direction. I think that a lot of the other mods are quite appreciated for that aspect. All of them got new units. Some of them, most notably the Necrons and the Witch Hunters, even got fairly substantial gameplay updates. But the thing that most people will notice is that all the vanilla races got brand new artwork and brand new voice work. Now, ordinarily, I would be extremely leery of this. Dawn of War has some awesome voice work in the first place, and fan-made voice work tends to be fairly substandard if we're being honest. But holy hell is this incredible. Do yourself a favor, boot up the Tau and vanilla before you try this and, give them a listen. Now go install this mod and try them again. The aesthetic and acoustic difference between the two is just like leaps and bounds better. Once again, whoever spearheaded this particular aspect of the update, I tip my hat to you. Like, you absolutely nailed this out of the park. Anyways, in spite of how ridiculously long this video is getting, I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface of this update. It's honestly that impressive, and like, this is just an update. It blows my mind to see the potential in this mod. If you have any questions at the end of this video, feel free to post them down in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them, but honestly, you're best off just heading to the mod page, which I've got linked down below, and downloading it for yourself. So, I guess since this is a mod review, we should conclude this with an actual, review. Should Unification Mod be the permanent fixture in your load order, because bearing in mind Dawn of War only allows 1 mod at a time? Well, if you haven't figured it out yet, yes. Just, by God, yes. This is the kind of mod you always hope to see one day, the kind of thing that takes every single aspect of the vanilla game and improves on it in every possible way, just unanimously across the board. I have played probably 2,000 hours of Dawn of War, were I to guess, yet I still find myself excited to play even more of it, and that is exclusively down to Unification Mod. This is not only the best mod for Dawn of War, I'd personally call this the best mod I've seen in the last year. Do yourself a favor, as soon as this video is done, go and download it and try it out for yourself. Anyways, that's going to be a wrap on this one. I'll get back into the hardware series pronto, but it's really hard getting videos done these days. I'm working 6 days a week, and I work overtime every single day among those 6 days. So I've got a really, really limited amount of time available. Not trying to make excuses, just letting you all know what's going on, and the fact that I won't be getting back into the 2 videos a week schedule for quite some time yet. Anyways, though, I want to thank you so much for spending time with me, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Bye!